And welcome back to Comic Frontline, everybody. I'm Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzogoose, back with you for another DC Rebirth review. Before we get into this, just in case I talk about key elements of this issue, here is your obligatory spoiler warning. If you have not read this book yet, go out and get it at your local comic shop because this is going up early on Wednesday. Go get it, read it, come back here and watch. Oh, wait. Okay, now that you've read the issue and you're ready to talk about it, ready to discuss it, let me tell you what I thought about it. First, let's talk about who are the creators behind it. This is Flash Rebirth, issue number 1, written by Joshua Williamson, becoming a favorite writer of mine, writes Birthright for Image. Excuse me, art by Carmine Di Giandomenico. Colors by Ivan Placencia, I hope I'm not butchering that, and letters by Steve Wands, cover by Carl Kerschel, and a variant cover by Jason Pearson. Alright, so this issue kind of takes place before, during, and after parts of DC Universe Rebirth. It opens up with Barry on a case that is very similar to his mother's case. The mother has been murdered, and the cops are jumping to the conclusion that, oh, it's probably the husband that did it. And Barry's there on the scene saying, no, it's not. And Singh tries to take him off the case, saying, this is too personal for you. And then we start seeing visions come to Barry. He starts seeing visions of Zoom with his hands bloody. Things that didn't necessarily happen, but he starts to see them, and he doesn't understand what's going on. So that's what leads up to what happened in Rebirth, where Wally comes through the Speed Force and Barry connects with him. We get this whole lead up, and it's kind of a retelling of Barry's origin story as the Flash, which it's the New 52 version, and it's also very similar to the TV version. So if you know the Flash's story, you know the good first half of this issue. And on one hand, that's good because it's very new reader accessible. You can pick this up and you learn all about the Flash right away. And then, of course, you're tossed into the pre-New 52 continuity as Wally comes in. So then it gets a little bit confusing, but if you're a comic reader, you know that things are topsy-turvy like that and happen, and you can put 2 and 2 together and come out with a good story. So, leads up to the part where Wally comes out of the Flash, comes out of the Speed Force and tries to connect with Barry. And Barry, they replay that whole scene from DC Universe Rebirth, kind of from a different angle, where he grabs him and it's like, Wally, how could I can never forget you, blah blah blah. So now the two of them are together, and that's when we pick up after Rebirth, and we start discovering some things. Now, there was one part in Rebirth that had a lot of people talking, a lot of people theorizing, and I am going to spoil this, so just, again, fair warning. The comedian's button, the smiley face button from the Watchmen that Batman finds on his Batcave wall in Rebirth, and everybody's like, well, he must be a terrible detective then, or, oh, how was he not able to see this and everything? We finally get that answer in this issue. So for anybody wondering, this is what happens. The lightning from the Speed Force, when Wally tries to connect with Bruce, it embedded the button, the pin, into the wall. So whether it was the Speed Force trying to help Batman decipher the clues and all this, or whatever, that is the reason it's there, and that's how it got there. And that's why Batman never saw it. It's not that he's a bad detective, it's just he had nothing to go on. But as soon as it was there, he was like, this is interesting. So, there you go. Anyway, there's also a little bit about Batman, how Barry relates to him and says, I always considered Batman more of a scientist than a detective, and I felt like we had that in common. And there's this joke about, I want to smile or crack a joke or whatever, but Superman told me a long time ago, there's no laughter in the Batcave, or there's no jokes in the Batcave, and things like that. So nice little touches, little nuances here and there. And then we discover that Wally, Barry, and Batman are together, the three of them trying to figure out this mystery and try to put things, either put things back or figure out why they're different, or what needs to be changed or fixed or whatever. We get a rehash of basically that, yes, Barry kind of messed up the timeline, but it's not completely his fault because somebody else was at play, and that whole thing that we learned in Rebirth. That's basically the gist of the story. It was just kind of setting the table for what's going to go forward with Barry and Batman as they tried to determine what's wrong with the DC universe currently. And it was a good opening issue. It wasn't as strong for me as some of the other Rebirth issues. Batman and Superman specifically. Batman I thought was fantastic. Superman was really good as well. But it was still a solid opening. It was a solid introduction to what the new Flash series is going to entail going forward. And again, new reader accessible. If that's important to you with these Rebirth titles, then this is one of the better ones, because again, it does retell that origin story through actually a first-person narration, which first-person narration is pretty hard to pull off correctly, and it was well done here by Joshua Williamson, I have to say. Just not a whole lot of forward movement, and no pun intended being the Flash and all. In this issue, it really was just setting the table and kind of catching you up to where you need to be, and then just giving you a little bit of a nudge, a little tease to what's to come. But overall, it was a solid issue. I'm going to rate this one a 3.5 stars. The art was really good as well. I did not mention that yet. Coloring was fantastic. I love the lightning effect coming off Barry at all times. It's just like constantly this aura around him. I think that's kind of exciting. It makes him more dynamic looking than just kind of standing there. He's in motion constantly. So hats off to the art there. But overall, I'm giving this story and art combined for Flash Rebirth #1 3.5 stars. So that's my rating. That's my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below and what you think about the other Rebirth titles that have come out this week and so far, because now we've got 2 weeks worth of titles coming out, and lots going on and lots to talk about. So in the comments below, you can do that. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. I don't care. But like the channel, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and check out all the other Rebirth reviews, because like I said, we're trying to put these up as early as possible, so all the other Rebirth titles that came out this week will be up today as well, so check those out. And as for me personally, you can check out Zone4Podcast.com, my company, Last Number Press, lastnumberpress.com. Check that out. We got some convention photos from the latest convention we were at, and there will be a new Zone 4 episode this Friday, so check that out right here on Comic Frontline. So until next time, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.